and welcome back to Gapey's Garden. It's been a while since I've showed you what's growing besides tomatoes and peppers, but we have a lot of stuff still in the garden. This is where the onions were at, and I pulled those out and replaced it with some buckwheat cover crop. And I also have a few little lettuce seedlings in here, kind of hidden in here. I might have to trim some of the buckwheat to get those, but there's a few lettuces in there. And then I left some of the Walla Walla onions in there because they were going to seed, so I thought I would try saving some seed from those, and I know the bees like those. And then this is the Roma tomato that was a volunteer in this bed, and it's just starting to get some ripe tomatoes there at the bottom. And then this is the Finale fennel, and I've let two of them go to seed in the bed, and I didn't realize they were going to get so huge, but they've got tons of flowers. I don't see any seeds forming yet, but there's a lot of flowers on there, and I've seen a lot of the wasps seem to really like this thing. I've seen a lot of wasps in there, but no bees that I could see. And then we've got a couple of cabbages still in the bed. This is the Integro red cabbage. It's a round one, and I did harvest one of those already. And then we've got our pole beans over here. I have 3 different varieties. There's 2 TPs, but I have 2 varieties on this one. There's a Papa de Rolla, and it's a pretty good green bean as well as a dry bean. And I've been harvesting a lot of the dry beans off there. It looks like there's a couple dry beans that are ready. And then this one over here is the Industrious Homesteader, and I got all these from seed swaps the last couple of years. And I saw some pretty big ones in here. So this one seems to be a bigger or longer variety bean. I haven't tried any of these ones yet, so I'm not sure how good they are as a green bean, but I'll probably save some of the dry beans off of that. And then this one over here is the Fort Portal bean. It's a nice green bean, and I did submit, I've already harvested quite a bit. I submitted, I think it's 6 ounces of dried beans into the fair this year, and I did get first place for that. This one's almost pretty much done. There's a few beans still on the plant, so I'll just wait a little bit longer before I pull that out. Now let's go check out, I have the red amaranth here. I left one in this bed, and it's starting to go to seed, so I'm sure we'll get a lot more of those come up next year. Let's take a look at the in-ground bed we have over here. So I have 2 cabbages left, another red variety. This one is called, what is it called? Thought I had a tag. There it is, Calabose. This is the Calabose variety. It's not as round, it's a little bit longer shape, and there's one over there, and this is a bigger one over here. And I entered one of these in the fair as well and got first place. Then I have this herb called papalo. It's said to taste kind of similar to cilantro, and it does a little bit. You could use it as a replacement in a pinch, but a little bit goes a long way, so you don't want to use too much of that. And then the tomatillos this year is one of my garden fails. I didn't really get much of a harvest. A lot of the leaves were turning yellow and just not doing very well. The fruits, a lot of them just went to the ground before they were done, and some of them split on the bottom, and some of them were growing outside of the husks, so just kind of all kinds of problems with that variety. So I'm not going to grow the yellow tomatillo again, I don't think. And then this here is the Roselle Red Tie Hibiscus, and it's not doing as well as I would like. It is getting some flowers on it. And I have 2 of these. I think the other one is doing a little bit better, but not much. So I harvested some of the flower buds after it finished flowering, and I made some kombucha with it. Didn't seem to have much flavor though. And then this here's the summer squash. We have 2 varieties in the bed. There's a kind of a patty pan shaped one, and it produced quite a bit early in the season, and then now it's kind of petering out. It took a break for a while, but now it's starting to get some more. And then back here is the Goldini. It's a yellow zucchini, and I entered a huge one in the fair that was 10 pounds, and it got a first place ribbon as well. And then this is a tomatillo that we transplanted from the backyard over in the fruit trees that we had pulled out. and it didn't transplant too well. It's still alive, but kind of just barely. And then we have our cucumbers back here, which are just about done. Let me move around here. They're mostly lemon cucumbers left, but I had 3 different varieties in here. And they're kind of overdone. I should probably pick those and feed them to the chickens. And then I've got a tender green variety back here. It produced some pretty long cucumbers, but now they're just kind of short little cucumbers. And then I planted some lettuce also back here. And we have I think this was a kohlrabi, an extra one that I didn't have room for. So I just put it back here, and it looks like something has been eating the leaves, so I might spray that with some neem oil. And let's go back here to one of the other beds. So this is a late started melon. It's an Ivory Gaia melon. It's supposed to be a pretty short season variety, so I thought maybe I'd have enough time to grow it. And surprisingly, there's some little melons here. So this is what the variety looks like. It's kind of a white with green specks. So I've got one there. I've got a little one back in here. And then I think there's another pretty decent sized one. There it is. Right there. So we might actually get to harvest a few of those. And I think there's 4 plants in there. Then we've got a couple of bush beans, and this is all where the garlic was pulled out. So I always plant bush beans after pulling out the garlic. And they're flowering, but I haven't seen any beans just yet. But I've got, I think, 5 different varieties of bush beans that I got from seed swaps. And then I planted some late or fall cabbages. So those 3 are cabbages there. And then I have the white Vienna kohlrabi. I thought there was 4 that I planted, but I'm only seeing 3, so I'm not sure what happened to the other one. And then I have a few different varieties of cabbages, or not cabbages, kales, that are in this row here. And there's the purple kale that I started pretty late. It's not doing that great, just kind of growing tall. It hasn't bolted. I'm not seeing any flowers forming or anything. And then we have a couple of Chinese cabbages, and I entered one of the red ones into the fair. That's the Red Dragon variety, and it also got a first place, but by the time we got to the fair it was pretty well wilted, so it didn't look so great. But they do the judging the day after you enter it, so I'm sure it was probably fine when they did the judging. And then there's some dinosaur kale there, so I've been feeding that to the chickens mostly. And then this is the dazzling blue kale, what's left of it. And we have a few scallions that I started kind of late in the season that are doing pretty good. And that's the volunteer zucchini, and I think it might be a cross because it looks like a Cocozelle that I usually plant, but it's not as skinny as it usually is. It's kind of fat on the end. And let's take a look at one more spot back here. These are the Chinese long beans. These took forever to grow, so they're finally getting flowers, and over on this side we've actually got some beans forming. So these are kind of a neat, I didn't realize they got so long, but they're long and skinny. I'm not sure when the best time to harvest them is. I've never grown these before. Here's a flower that's open. The flowers are really pretty, but they're pretty late coming in. And then in between there I've got some beets. I've already harvested the beets that were behind there. I had some Cylindra beets. They were a red elongated beet, but the golden beets are still here, and they're in need of harvesting. They're getting pretty large. They're not bolting yet, so that's good. But some of them seem to be growing a little bit faster than others. This one here isn't quite as big as the other one. And then over here we have black-eyed peas. I wasn't sure if black-eyed peas grew in this area because I've never heard of people growing it. But Adaptive Seeds, who is a local seed company had some, so I thought I'd give it a try, and they seem to be growing pretty well. I've already harvested a few of the dry beans, and I'm just waiting for the rest of them to dry up before I harvest some more. And then we still have some carrots in the ground, which are way past due. So you can see how big this is. I think that's a purple, or maybe, I'm not sure if that's a purple variety or not. Let's pull it out and find out. Nope, it's actually an orange. I think this is the Amarillo. Oh, I got two out. This is the Amarillo variety, and there's no seed head, so I don't think it's bolting, so it might actually be edible. Guess we'll find out. But I still have quite a few still in the ground. There's another huge orange one back here. You can see this big guy. See that? Let me probably pull that one out. Wow. Check that out. Another big one. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with those. Maybe I'll try fermenting some carrots. And then we've got another cabbage. That's another one of the Chinese cabbages. And then some lettuce. And that lettuce is starting to bolt, it looks like. I think that's pretty much all I wanted to show you for now. Thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you again soon.